How good are we? The camera is already getting us pretty much
where we need to be.
Somewhat where we need to be and perfect. Welcome to D&G5.
It's alive.
Sponsored by D&G5 is alive. Or is live. Yeah. Woo! Funniest show on the internet. I'm going to move that a little bit to there. I can't hold it in any longer. There we are on screen. So now we can watch our own pretty faces. We'll mute that so that it doesn't thing. Try closing other apps. I haven't got anything else open, you stupid machine. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm going to kick off straight away with fantastic news. Let me just do what I should have done earlier. We are now being looked at by iTunes as to whether our podcast can be in iTunes.
Wow, that is good news.
Last night I spent a little bit of time in between watching TV, getting D&G 1, 3 and 4, because if you remember back to D&G 2, we had a few awkward problems with me experimenting with a second camera, and we cut the feed halfway through. So D&G 2 is actually in multiple parts, of which I'm going to have to take the audio and then edit them together. Mm-hmm. So that's going to take a little bit of time. But 1, 3 and 4 are up on our nice and free Podomatic site, which if I can show... I'll show the people. We'll show the people. Here
people
we are.
Need to know.
That's what it sort of looks like from what we get to do. I'm trying to find where the... Public profiles not connect with friends, edit profile. I want to find the episodes. I think if I click on one of the episodes... That's roughly what it looks like. With a nice little embeddable bar up here. And I shouldn't have that on full screen. That's silly. So, if you feel like it, you can go to our Podomatic site, which we'll put a link up on the Facebook page at the end of the episode. You can go check it out there and you can download it. It'll be pretty damn simple to download it and then just throw it across into your iTunes so that you can listen to it via your iPod during the week or whenever you feel like. I'm getting annoyed now because should be able to bring up a nice... That one, maybe. Quality resolution suggestion. It seems that the broadcast won't able to reach the... You might want to lower the quality in the broadcast tab.
Nah, that's alright.
Okay.
Those twisties.
But yeah, so twisties for D&G 3, Morecambe and Wise for D&G 1. I just did a search for comedy duos, and then Batman Lego for number 4. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So there you go, folks. I haven't got the confirmation yet from iTunes to say that we're in or on iTunes, but I can't imagine that we'll get rejected because we
paid our dues.
We
5
might
episodes in.
We might say the odd rude word, but we're not exactly sprouting racial hate or anything like that. So we're not doing anything worse than any of the other podcasts. So I think it's a positive or
Good.
a likely.
Good. This is fantastic news. I'm so glad you didn't tell me before we started.
Yeah, I did that last night. I've been thinking about doing it for a bit and getting it set up. I really wanted to... I think last week after the show I was showing you little ideas for services where we actually had to pay and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what? Screw it. Let's just get it up there regardless of the quality because that... And I'll bring it back up for people to see. That... It'll work in a second. that site's not exactly the most attractive. It's not the most quality iTunes site or podcast site.
Yep.
It's not fantastic. I mean,
It's got pictures.
but it's got a few funny pictures that we can add there. I want to actually get some photos of us to put in there. I've got an idea for one. It's nothing original, but I've got an idea. And we can put little blurbs. People can download it. They can check it out. So
Send it to a friend.
I figure for now, until we start taking donations, that's all we can do. If I remember correctly, there was a way of making donations. Actually, now that I remember it, you can actually click subscribe on iTunes, and I think that works where it's not on iTunes, but it automatically clicks it and sends it to your iTunes account.
Cool.
I'm not 100% sure how that works from memory, but I've done it once or twice with other things. So yeah, anyway. That's my news that's relevant to the show. Yeah.
Cool. Don't have much news relevant to the show, but had
No.
a very hectic week.
Very hectic.
Very hectic.
Hectic in a good way or a bad way?
Oh, a bit of both.
Bit of both?
Yeah.
So it's good that it's happening, but it's still like a bit hectic.
Yeah. Well, I moved house, which is pretty hectic.
It's about time too.
Yeah. I also had 2 wisdom teeth out on Thursday.
Oh my god. See,
Yeah.
now that's... that makes sense, because before we started you mentioned that you'd moved.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, moving's not that bad. Like, you get it done and it's good because you're going somewhere new and it's a bit exciting and stuff. And I know that you're moving in with people that you're excited to be moving in with. So that's like, okay, awesome. This is going to be a great new start. But yeah, the wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
That'll put a dampener on moving and
Pretty much.
enjoyment. How, you haven't even mentioned over the previous weeks that the wisdom teeth were causing problems or
it's
anything.
just the back one at the top was just a bit of pain and
obviously only a little, like as far as wisdom teeth go, like some people are just like, I cannot do a thing, my wisdom teeth are killing me. You were fine to come here, you were training, you were...
I think I might have been bitten by a radioactive spider.
Oh, okay.
I would get significant pain in my mouth. I would take Panadol if I needed for a couple of days, and then I'd be fine. I went to the dentist, and they said, "Yep, cool, got to get your wisdom teeth out. We'll book you in for 2 weeks' time." And immediately I thought, "Oh God, 2 weeks where I'm going to have to be pounding Panadols every day." Within a couple of days, the pain was gone. I didn't have any pain at all.
And you were considering
Cancelling
cancelling
it?
it?
No, I needed to get it done. So, yeah, got it done. And as they were the most professional dentist I've ever seen, by the time they'd given me all the numbing stuff and the anaesthetic, they said, "Oh, shit, we haven't got you to sign the consent yet." So they put a form in front of me, and I'm like, "What's
that?"
So anyway, signed it, all fine. But the guy said to me, he said, "Look, you're going to have a couple of days off work."
Yep.
And I didn't have it was Thursday afternoon I got it done, so I didn't have anything planned for the weekend, but I was working with my dad, giving him a hand on Friday.
Yep.
So he said, "Look, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be in agony, you know, that's not happening." So called my dad, let him know. I said, "Look, they said I'm not going to be able to help you tomorrow." And he said, "Oh, whatever." I have not had a single second of pain. I have not taken any painkillers.
Wow.
Yeah. It was uncomfortable to eat Thursday night and Friday.
Yep.
Only because I could only get my mouth open
A small
amount. And I was eating broccoli Thursday night.
Yep.
And I found that I could get... What's the bottom part of the broccoli? Not the flower?
I refer to
the stem?
Yeah, I refer to it as like the stem or the stalk or something.
Right, I could get the stem into my mouth, but I
Yep.
couldn't get the flower in.
So you
I
were
had
sitting
to,
there with the broccoli
and then I would have to go like this and push it into my mouth because I couldn't get my jaw open wide enough. But I didn't. It stopped me from eating large quantities of food Thursday and Friday. But Friday night, I treated myself to a sundae.
Awesome. As you should. I mean, that's only fair.
And then Today, I ate an absolute monstrosity of a burger, and I mean that
And
literally.
you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but it was a monstrosity.
I have a friend who got his wisdom teeth taken out, and I saw him like 2 or 3 days later. He doesn't normally have a round face, but when I saw him, the face was just pushed out so far. So you've come off quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty messed up afterwards just because of the anaesthetic, and I was all groggy and stuff.
What you should have done was you should have recorded some of that, and then we could have played it tonight.
Oh no,
That would have been funny.
It was terrible. I had to make a few phone calls, and it was bad. Like I texted before I made the phone calls, just saying I've got to call you, but you're not going to recognise my voice.
I'm a bit messed up at the moment, so just hold tight.
Yeah.
I don't have wisdom teeth. Never had them. Never gonna have them.
No.
There's nothing back there for them to take out.
Well, I've had all of mine taken out now.
I'm really glad that I don't have them, because I've heard some, like, yours is a freak occurrence story. I've heard some absolute horrors where people are just in pain and unable to talk and function, and yeah. So you're quite lucky. Not as lucky as me.
Not having any. Yeah.
Not having any. I mean, your superpower, you think, is that you've got the pain threshold thing.
Yep.
Or maybe you're Wolverine in that it healed up really quickly.
Maybe. Well, I mean, you know, I don't drink much. I had an alcoholic ginger beer today.
Ooh.
I don't smoke. I don't take drugs or anything that I consider a drug. I'll just heal quickly.
Yeah, get it done.
Just get it done.
Get it done. There's no point messing around.
No, that's right.
The teeth are out. You don't need them anymore. Let's move on.
That's right. And look, the whole process was... I reckon I was in the chair for about 15 minutes. And 10 of those minutes would have been waiting for the anaesthetic to kick in. And then afterwards, it literally took 5 minutes to get the teeth out. So, yeah. But hectic week. Moving...
Having your wisdom teeth out at the same time as having as moving is a pretty... Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good double whammy.
Yeah. But, yeah. That was a hectic end to the week, I must admit.
And the start of the week wasn't anything like that?
Oh, I can't remember.
You can't remember? Oh, well, it was too long ago, and you've been so eventful since then.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of packing leading up to the move, and... yeah. What about you? What was your week?
My week was fine. I unfortunately didn't have school this week.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, because I've really been enjoying school. And mainly because it's a day of sitting on my computer, which is fun. But I didn't have school, and because of that, I had 5 days in a row of working. Ooh. And I didn't like it. No. I really didn't like it. It wasn't good at all. But apart from that, yeah, I've had a pretty quiet week, really. Just the usual working. And then there's been a tradition that has been started this week of coming home and going to bed quite early to watch TV and muck around on devices.
It's pretty good.
Which excludes going to training, which is a big shame.
That's not good.
It's not good at all.
No.
I feel good at the moment, but I feel bad that I'm maybe 2 weeks out from the last training session. Which is not good at all.
Let's get back on the horse.
Yeah, eventually. We hope.
Yeah.
Now, big sporting events have happened. Now, I know we stick mostly to nerdy stuff. But can we talk big sporting events?
It depends what sport.
Well, the Tour de France has started.
Oh, didn't even know. We did speak about cycling last week when we were talking about the rampant drug use of athletes.
I assumed that you probably wouldn't have been up to date with the Tour de France. It happened, the first stage, the prelim, I think they would refer to it, was last night, our time, and it was a rip snorter.
Really?
I get the feeling that for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, probably you're not going to really care about.
I didn't even know
bringing it up.
No.
I highly recommend if anyone does care about it. There's SBS has little tour highlights on their SBS.cyclingcentral website, and it's a very good little 12 minutes to highlight package of what happened. And it was pretty exciting. The build up to the final sprint finish. I can't remember what Cavendish's team is, but they started their assault on the finish very early, and then they got blown away. And then at the end, Cavendish came in doing a bit of track cycling, headbutting, trying to push the other. I've gone out of camera, pushing his head like this. And he ended up falling, and it looks like he's dislocated his shoulder. Dislocated his collarbone, which means he might not be able to race the rest of the tour. So it was pretty interesting in that regard. I was watching it thinking to myself, you know what? I don't really care about the previously proven drug use and the potential drug use, because I still enjoy the fact that all these guys are the drama of it is still quite enjoyable. But yeah,
I mean, we didn't touch on this last week, but it's not natural to do that, like to ride your bike, up and down hills, and for how long are they riding at a time? How long is each stage?
Okay, so yeah, the tour is 3 weeks. They get, I think, 2 days off, and on the days off, they still go for a ride.
Yeah,
but it's something like, I think the prelim was like 5 hours of riding.
Yeah.
Most stages are around between 150 and 250 kilometers.
Okay.
And the thing is, they then include the mountains. So it is a matter of, even though we shouldn't listen to Lance too much, he describes cycling as I'm going to pick my other guy that I'm going to compete against, and then I'm going to destroy you by riding you into the ground. Because you get to a hill stage, and it's not, when you see 2 guys riding up a hill, it's not just, they're riding up a hill. It's, they're both trying to ride just a little bit faster than the other guy can handle, so that the other guy can't stop, cannot let you get ahead or anything. So it becomes this mental fight of, I have to keep with you. I have to stick with you. And the problem that all the drugs involved was that, especially, you see some footage back in the day of Lance, he was able to ride, and he'd look back, everyone was knackered, and then he'd just fly away from them.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive to watch, because if you assume that they were all on drugs, he's still better than them.
And better drugs?
Better drugs, yeah. So, yeah, it's such an interesting sport in that regard, because you get to the last week, and the 2 guys that are vying for the lead might be halfway in the pack. So
they've just got to beat.
They're only racing with each other.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who's ahead of them, who's behind them, because
the yellow jersey or whatever.
Well, one of them will usually have it.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter who's ahead or who's behind, because those people are all so far back in the overall standings that they
might
don't matter.
Win the stage, but they don't win the... Yeah, gotcha.
They might win the polka dot jersey, which is for the people who have the King of the Mountains, which is whoever comes over the peak of mountains the most.
Yep.
The people like Cavendish who will get the green jersey, which is sprinting for the line and for other little sprint events along the way. But obviously the yellow one's the overall winner.
Yes.
That everyone's going for. But it's like Test cricket. You find out all this stuff, and the tension just keeps building and building and building. And unfortunately, just like Test cricket, there can be a complete whitewash, and it's a piece of shit. It can happen. You can get to a thing where the guy's got a 6-minute lead, and they just cruise in to the finish.
Yeah.
And if Safari was working on the computer, which it's not at the moment, unfortunately, it's not even working like that. I would try to bring up a few little highlights. Nothing's working. That's great. Oh, but I've got a chess move to play. Yeah, I find the Tour de France... I'm one of those cycle fans that doesn't follow the Giro or the Tour of England or even the Tour of Down Under. But the Tour de France is one of those... It's like people who don't watch any sport, but they watch the grand final every year. I find watching the Tour de France to be enough cycling for my
That's your
year.
grand final.
Well, for cycling it is. I like to watch a little bit of AFL and stuff every now and again.
I've never heard of the Tour Down Under or the Giro or the Tour
Giro
of England.
d'Italia. That's the big tour
Isn't that
in
some sort of Sivlaki? Giro?
the Giro. Yeah, that's the Italian tour. That's a big deal. The Tour Down Under is usually the start of the year. That's about 1 week, 2 weeks. That's not a big one. But the Giro, I think there's the Italian, the French, and the Spanish. The Tour de Spain are the big three that are the big deal for the year. But you're right. You mentioned a minute or two ago. You're right. It's not natural.
No,
it's not right.
No.
And when
to put your body through that much stress, you've got to be doing something afterwards.
Well, when they were all doping, the organisers were making them do more. They were putting them. I don't know whether they were like, "Oh, these guys are doping, so we'll just up the ante," but they were putting. They were setting courses that were longer and bigger climbs, and everything was harder. Whereas now they've brought that back a little bit, and it's now it is much easier for people to complete the race. But that's because they're not because it's a little bit easier, and they're probably still just with sports science and accepted supplements and things. They're able to do it. But you look at who wins. People don't win back-to-back Tour de France's. It doesn't happen.
So it's Lance.
So Lance winning 6 in a row is just complete bullshit. And it's really amazing that he actually got as far as he did with people saying...
Cheating.
Like, people were saying, you cheated, and he was telling them no, and then other people were saying, no, he didn't cheat, he's the greatest of all time.
And riding a bike.
But it's more than riding a bike, because it's the mental. It's like saying that mixed martial arts is just going in and punching people.
Well, it's kicking.
But it's, I find it very interesting, those the 3 weeks. Because I've done the odd day-long bike ride, and it's incredibly enjoyable. If your body's up for it.
But it's what happens to your body afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, the day afterwards, the 2 days afterwards, and if you're continuing to ride every day 100 kilometres a day...
But like any athlete, these guys are doing this 365 days a year.
Yeah.
These aren't just like you at the moment going to training almost every day. The day after or the 2 days after isn't as bad.
No.
Because your conditioning's there.
Yeah.
These guys would be like, oh, it's my day off. I'm gonna, as I said, they have days off in the tour, but they all get up and go for a ride as part of the team. They just don't go as far. They only do 30 or 40k instead of 200, because it's just your body has to do it. And by continually getting it so that your body's at a level where you ride, then doing it for 3 weeks and really pushing it isn't quite as bad.
Yeah.
It's definitely not good for you. I mean, I haven't seen anything about oh my god, I can't remember his name. The Australian.
Cadell Evans?
That guy.
How do I know that?
Because it was all over the papers and stuff when he won. I haven't seen anything about him for this tour. Because he's probably...
Clean.
Well, clean, but he's also said, I've won one.
Yeah. Stuff is, I don't have to do it again.
It's time to let someone else, because he not only did he win one, but he came second like 3 times before that.
Yeah.
And he was he'd been riding as a professional for a long time. And because it's such a team event, you can only be like the leader of a team for so long until people go, okay, let someone else have a go.
Give him a go.
Because as I was explaining to Jamie this morning when I watched the highlights, the leader of each team are the only people that could possibly win.
Yep.
The rest of the team are all there to support him. For one of my favourite stories was, I think it was one of the Schleck brothers, Andy Schleck or Frank. They were in.
Who are they?
They're cyclists. Don't worry.
Cool.
They were in their ear. They got told, come back to the team van, grab some food and water for everyone, and then ride it back to everyone. So they're in the middle of the peloton, which is the big bunch. They get told, you've got to go back. So they just drop back and slowly go slower than everyone. They then get to the team van. They get their water bottles and fill their pockets up, and then also he unzipped his top a bit and started putting them into his top. He then has to ride and catch up to the peloton, and then he starts handing it out to everyone.
Jeez.
And that's his job.
It's a team sport.
It's a team sport with only one winner.
Yeah.
The team doesn't win. One guy wins.
It's just silly.
So it's and that's why it's such a. It is a. I think it's a very interesting and fun sport, but I can understand why people just like who wants to get up for 21 days at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 3 a.m. when your normal time is 7 a.m. and watch 3 hours of guys just riding. I can understand that that's boring. Personally, I'll be just watching highlights every day and a podcast that I really like, but I don't think I'll ever actually watch any of it live because it's just crazy.
Who's getting up that early?
Although I do have an awesome app recommendation, the Tour de France Tour Tracker app that looks a little bit like that when you open it up. This is, in my opinion... Skoda. This, in my opinion, is an example of how technology is advancing so wonderfully. I don't need the welcome. I've already done this. So, if I hold it up very quickly for people... without the reflection showing too badly. No, that made it worse. It has up here, there's a delay, so I'm not sure if I'm pointing to the right section. I am. It has a section where you'll see the live video of the tour, but then down at the bottom it has a sideways showing of where the climbs are.
Jesus.
So then the actual the little marker will go along and it'll show you where they're climbing, and they're all graded as to how steep and how high they are. They've then also got that little S in a green there is for the sprint finish. It's an app that adds to your experience and
really breaks it down by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'll transfer from talking about cycling, which I'm sure people are bored of now, into technology. It means that whilst you're watching it, even if you're just watching it on the screen on the app, you've got all this other information. So you can then hit the standings, which will now tell you that Marcel Kittel from Team Giant Shimano is currently in the yellow jersey at the top. There's an Australian, Michael Rogers from Tinkoff Saxo,
and you're Rog.
in number 5. And then you've got all these Cancelleras in 11, even though he almost got the finish today. But as you can see, all these guys crossed at what is classed as the same time because they're all in the peloton. So at the moment, they've all got the same time, which means that going into the next, like when it all gets added together, a lot of guys will be way down because they all just roll over with the whole peloton and they get the same kind of thing. But keeping with technology, this then gives us a nice description of the stage. Not only does it give me a description in words, it then shows me the profile as to how much climbing they have to do. It gives me a map of exactly where they're going. Then there's some extra little details, the results, extra little videos about it. And then I can then go into the Rider app there, and I can go through all the different teams and who's riding for who. This app is what should be the future will be. Imagine watching a mixed martial arts fight and you've got a live feed of what's happening plus a timer or something telling you how long the round has gone for. Plus you've got details as to who the fighters are, what their training camps are like, their previous results. I just absolutely love this app in terms of the information that is gained or given, or the information that we can have for a sporting event.
It's pretty cool.
You were asking about the stages. So stage 1 was 190 kilometers. 2 is 201 kilometers. 155 for the next one. And I love the fact that the first 3 stages are in England, even though it's the Tour de France. 163, 156, 194, 234, 161. So yeah, they're all.
It's just
they're
just
all above 150.
I can't think that can't be good for your body.
No, but it can't be good for your body if you're not trained for it.
Yeah, used to it. Yeah,
if you're not used to it, getting hit in the head is not good for you. Even if you are trained for it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Now you were saying sporting events. Was that the only major sporting event that's been going on?
Well, obviously UFC 1.
Oh, besides that, yeah.
57?
Yeah.
75. 175 is still on. Happened today, and from all reports, it was a bit of an interesting one. I know results, but haven't seen everything.
I don't know anything about it, and I've kept it that way.
I'll be honest. I don't know how you've done that.
Just stay off Facebook.
Because I couldn't help it. I mean, admittedly, I was on Facebook. I didn't try to get away from it, but it was hard to avoid. I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't watch live because it sounds like it would have been a good one to watch live.
It's all right. It'll be live when you watch it.
Well, no, because I already know the results. But when you watch it with the results, you'll enjoy it. I can't think of any other sporting events.
Oh, is the World Cup still going, or is that?
Yeah, I think the World Cup's still going. That's a 3-week big thing as well.
Wimbledon, isn't that still on?
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that Aussie
Some Aussie guy,
that Aussie Nadal. Yeah, that Aussie guy did something.
And we'll never hear from him again.
Yeah, no, unless he does actually become a non-fluke player. But it's tennis. Who cares?
There's probably drugs in sport.
Yeah, like tea.
Tea.
I can't understand tennis.
No. Well,
it
like
is
you were
the
saying,
most boring sport ever.
Well, like you were saying before about who, with the cycling, who wants to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My parents are really into golf. And they will get up, and watch like the Open.
My stepdad's a big golf fan. He plays it as much as he can and enjoys watching as well.
It's fun to play.
Occasionally.
It's fun to hit a bucket of balls, but
I'm not a fan of playing it on a. I can understand it, like that cliche of businessmen going and playing around a golf and talking at the same time, because it's something distracting, but we're also doing something. But I don't understand it too much as a hobby. It doesn't do it for me.
Teach their own.
Yeah,
I enjoy. I was talking about this with a couple of friends today. I think there's nothing more stress relieving than rolling around in a pair of pajamas, almost getting choked to death.
You know what I like about that though? That's it. I have described that as I feel a bit stiff. I need a massage effectively, and that's what it is, because you get pushed and you get all the prodding and stuff like that, which is effectively like a massage. Plus the physical strain on your body, which releases all the endorphins. Whereas golf, it's walking.
It is. There's a lot of walking.
I know that there's the satisfaction from hitting the ball, and I know even tennis, there's the running around and stuff like that. But there's something about those sports that it's. I know in its simplest form for jiu-jitsu, it's I'm trying to make the other person submit.
Yep.
I know in the simplest form, all these sports are okay. You put the ball in the hole.
In the least number of
amount of shots, or you hit the ball over the net, and you've got to just try and keep hitting it over the net and stuff. But those other sports don't get much more complicated than that. Jiu-jitsu, just like chess, becomes incredibly complicated. I've been getting completely obsessed with chess lately, and I find that it's the same reason why I like jiu-jitsu, because it's so complicated when you really get into it. Jiu-jitsu just gets so complicated. The way I describe it to people is that it's interesting because from one position, there's 10 moves. From each of those 10 moves, there's 10 moves. With tennis, there's forehand, backhand, trick shots,
lob,
and that's
smash.
it.
Yeah.
But that's forehand still.
Yeah.
That's a smash, but it's a forehand.
Yeah.
And a backhand smash, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's so... I don't see the complication of it. It doesn't get... I don't know how people can continually watch it over and over again because it doesn't seem to be stimulating the second time round.
Well, you just watch the people that go to the tennis. Not good for your neck.
No, not at all. Yeah. Whereas I guess with jiu-jitsu, it's hard to watch. Like, I still can't watch jiu-jitsu that often.
No.
One thing I want to try doing, though, is watching chess. I've gotten that nerdy about chess. What's going on in there?
D&G5 is alive.
What's making that noise?
Back to the podcast.
Talk.
Yeah. Oh, look, I dabble with a bit of chess. I think chess is kind of fun, but I remember the last time I played chess, I won, and I haven't played since, so I am undefeated. There's a lot of noise coming from the other room. I'm kind of hoping it's not a bomb threat, because I don't think I could make it to my car in time. But, yeah. Don't know what to say. I've been left alone and in front of a camera and a microphone. So... And Kevin's back.
I hope you weren't saying anything bad about me.
No. I was just remarking it. I've been left alone. I don't know what to do, so I started making hand gestures.
Hand gestures?
Yeah.
Do you know any good magic tricks with just your hands? Like, can you do the... that one?
I'll do this one. Oh.
Didn't we do that last time?
We probably did.
Yeah, I think that's been done before.
Yeah. What else is news?
I don't know.
What have you been watching? The Office?
We have been watching a lot of the US Office. We're up to the final season. We're actually up to the last maybe handful of episodes. So we're in the final seasons where Michael Scott has left and it's getting a little bit weird and they're sort of trying to hold on to a show.
Yeah.
As I describe it. I think the show became very different for those last couple of seasons, but still... I still thought it was really good. I'll try to avoid a spoiler, but there's a moment where when they get to the final season, they've been doing 9 seasons, and they start describing the fact that, or talking about the fact that they've been watching, or they've been filming these people for 9 years. Are they ever going to do anything with the footage? Because in the UK office, after they do the 2 seasons, and the 2 seasons pretty much go back to back, they then, before they do the specials, they say in 2010 or 2001, whenever it was, we went to a paper shop to see how things were going. Now we're going back to see the members of the office. They actually make reference to it, and that's why it doesn't feel fake or cheesy or anything. Now we can see on the other image of you just by yourself.
Yeah. Alone. There we go.
I'm going to look forward to watching this episode back myself to see what you were doing. So in the US one, they get to season 9 and they start breaking the fourth wall and looking at why or what's happening with this the paper company. Plus, they also do a little bit of the crew being involved, and I actually really like the way they've done that. It's one of my favourite things about it. When it happened, I even went on a little spiel to Jamie about it because it was quite impressive, in my opinion, the way they managed to pull you out of, because they claim that it's a documentary show and they're watching these people, but they watch 2 people and they watch it from this angle, but then all of a sudden the camera comes here and you're like, no, there's not going to be 2 cameras on this, and we should be able to see the other camera. So they screw it up a little bit like that. But in this instance, the way they pull you out of the documentary type show is very impressive in my opinion. The writing of it works very well. So yeah, highly. I do recommend the US Office. I think it's a
like
good
it.
show.
I've got to finish watching it. What was the season you were watching last week when I was here?
That would have been 8. I would imagine.
I think I've
Dare I say it could have been 7.
I think it was 7 because I think I've watched 8 and I haven't watched 9.
We've pushed our way through pretty intently. We've pretty much done all of season 9 in the last 2 days.
Wow.
Because we didn't leave bed today.
Nice.
It was literally just sitting in bed watching the show. Yeah. But I quite like the US Office. It's so... Once they became their own show, it's so different to the English one that there's no point comparing them.
No.
It's unfortunate that they started the US one
with a lot of the same jokes.
Well, the first episode is a direct rip from the original pilot episode of the UK Office, but in my opinion, they very quickly moved to a new, not new genre, but to their own way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I've been recommended Parks and Rec, which I found out just recently, or today, was created by the same people that adapted The Office. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've got the first 3 seasons of that. I've watched a bit of it.
I think I've watched the first season and it was just meh. I wasn't captivated.
Yeah.
But on that recommendation, and given that we're about to run out of fun comedy to watch at night, I think we might give it another shot. So yeah, that's my TV recommendation.
Yep.
Is the US Office. Don't expect the UK Office. Expect a whole different show. Because it's very different.
Well, I have a new show that I'm so excited about. Mm-hmm. And I did a similar binge to yourself, except not with watching the TV show.
Yep.
So there's a new show that's...
It's called Pacific Rim, the TV show.
Yeah, Pacific... No. It is called The Leftovers. And it's a HBO show that the pilot was on last Sunday, so Monday our time. And I watched the pilot, absolutely loved it, and then found out there was a book. So I watched the pilot Thursday night. Friday, I tracked down the book and then read it all in between moving and everything like that. I read it, finished it actually just before I got here. So
it sounds familiar.
Well, basically, it is a TV show about... It's set in a fictitious New York suburb where it's October 14, I believe, is the date.
October 14th, what year?
Oh, whatever, 3 years ago.
Okay.
There's an event that happens where 2% of the entire world's population just disappear. Not get abducted by aliens, not...
we don't know what.
We don't know what. They just disappear.
Has this been a long time in the making?
Well, the book came out in 2011 and the series just came out last week.
Okay.
So, yeah, on October 14th, whatever year, there was an event where people disappeared, and the series picks up 3 years later. And what's happened, like would happen in most of these cases, a lot of people have divided on where these people went. A lot of religious cults kind of stem from this.
All the doomsday preppers are like, we were right, and we're awesome now. And...
See, the big thing that a lot of the the Christian characters in this TV show and in the book are saying was, well, clearly this is the rapture. However, what they're finding out is a good percentage of the population were assholes. So they weren't good Christian people. Atheists got taken, Hindus got taken, Muslims got taken.
So it's no. So they said, it's the rapture, but then they said, well, wait a second, not all there's no connecting thing between all the people that were taken.
Yeah. So
and obviously the same could be said about the people who stayed.
Yep.
Because it could be which way's the
Yep.
Maybe the rapture is just where God just says, let's just take all a bunch of them. And that way we just thin the herd a little.
Yep.
Interesting.
But this show I'm so excited about it. However, I'm also really scared that
they're going to ruin the
they're
book.
gonna. Well, the book's fantastic. The series is completely different. It's been adapted by the author of the book and Damon. I can't remember his name, but the guy who created Lost. So there's that similar. There's a bit of weirdness to it.
Okay.
That's not actually in the book.
So let's hope that it's not like The Walking Dead, where even though the writer of The Walking Dead is, or the creator is on board, the show still just goes off on a tangent and just gets lost.
Yeah. Well, look, the pilot was really good. It went for like over an hour, so that kept me hooked.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
You're gonna have to.
Absolutely.
Like, it's so good. I think I bought a USB with it on here if you want it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh well, I won't. I was about to try and do a search for it.
No need.
Over on the other computer, but you've already got it for me.
No need.
I'm having the same kind of feelings when it comes to the DMZ TV show that's been talked about. I got really excited when I first heard it's going to happen, and then I started rereading the first comic or the first trade, and I started getting worried. And I started thinking, oh shit, I'm going to be like one of those guys that's, oh, the books were better and the TV show's just ruined it. They did this wrong and stuff. So I feel the same way as you, but different show, obviously.
Look, the book was really good, and the book helped sort of fill in a couple of the questions I had from the pilot, and it's probably going to show where the show's going to kind of go with it. In saying that, though, the things that weren't in the book that have been in the pilot, like the kind of lost weirdness kind of thing, are really awesome, and I'm really excited to see where they go with that.
So you like the additions,
yes,
that weren't in the book,
yes, very much so.
Well, that's good.
Well, and it's a similar thing to one of my favorite books and movies is Fight Club. And I've read the novel of Fight Club, I reckon 3 or 4 times, and I've seen the movie, dozens and dozens of times.
I find with, I hate to interrupt, I find with Fight Club the movie, I can't actually watch it because I get too convinced that it's a good idea to go live in a shitty house and forget all possessions and things like that. I find that it makes me a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I might have to look at, as we have talked about previously, I'm absolutely loving audiobooks at the moment. I might have to look into an audiobook of Fight Club, because that would be good, a good read.
Yeah. But like what I was going to say is the things, there are a lot of things about the Fight Club book and the movie that are completely different.
Yeah.
Like, when they do adaptations, they kind of change a few things. But the things that they put into the movie that aren't in the book are fantastic. Like, there's certain scenes in the movie that don't actually happen in the book, and vice versa. But it's the stuff that they've come up with for the movie that you wouldn't know. Like, it's as if it's in the book, and it's it's not like, oh god, they fucked it up by putting that in.
So they haven't taken something out of context. They've taken something that would work. That's still coming from the same kind of place that would have fitted into the book well if it had have been in the book. Yeah,
like I think there's certain scenes, like pivotal scenes in the movie that aren't actually in the book, but they're really good. Like I'm not 100% sure, but I think the scene with the narrator's boss where he beats himself up. Yep. I don't think that actually happens in the book.
Yeah, I think I've heard that wasn't part of the book.
Or it happens. I know it happens with Tyler's character with someone else.
Oh, okay.
That's the scene with Lou. Where Lou comes down to the basement and get out. That's not in the book.
This is my place.
Yeah, that's not in the book.
Now you've definitely got me wanting to
listen to the audiobook.
Listen to that audiobook. I can't say I feel stupid saying I want to read that book, but
you want to listen to it? Yeah.
Are we done on that? Can we move on?
Yeah.
Speaking of audiobooks, I am listening to the Steve Jobs biography. It turns out Steve Jobs was an absolute asshole.
Yeah, I knew that.
Absolute asshole.
Was not well liked.
The way I would describe him based on this book is that he was so much of a genius that he was almost retarded.
Yeah.
especially socially retarded.
Well, they got a good guy to play him in the autobiography.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
I want to see it just out of curiosity. But yeah, it seems like this guy was an absolute nutcase. And as they say, there's a fine line between insanity and genius. Mm-hmm. And I think he is a good example of someone who wavers between the two. Because obviously I have 4 Apple products of my own sitting right here. I love what he started and developed. But he just was absolutely insane. But I'm really enjoying it at the moment. It's quite a good book because apparently he and his wife said to the writer, "Don't hold back. They wanted it to be completely honest."
So, is it a biography or an autobiography?
Biography.
Okay.
No, he was involved and gave his complete blessing to it and said, "Interview and talk to everyone. Do not hold back."
Yep.
So much so that the book really does come across at times as being something where it's just bagging the shit out of him.
Shit.
Like really talking about his bad qualities. Like the fact that when they were starting Apple, he barely washed.
Ugh.
Once a week he would wash and he was eating a practically fruitarian diet, which he believed would stop all BO and stuff. And he would walk around barefoot all the time. He was an absolute hippie. Spent a year in India.
Shit.
An absolute hippie. And it was always that cross between being a real hippie and being a what's it called? A businessman and wanting money. Because he was a millionaire before they even released the Macintosh.
Shit.
Which I didn't realise. Okay, sure. And we've got a question from Matt Hogan. No, Matt, Steve Jobs didn't die of AIDS. He died of cancer. That seems awkward.
Yep.
Thanks, Matt. Our new number 1 fan, I think.
Yeah.
Second
2 weeks in a row.
Second week in a row. We've actually got another... clearly we can see who the popular member of the duo is, because apparently you're a Mad Kent.
Apparently.
Daggy C or something.
Daggy!
That, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, little in-jokes with you and the fans. Whatever.
Popular.
But yeah, Steve Jobs was an absolute nutcase. But I quite like his products. It's literally that. That's pretty much all. Just
wow.
Dagsy, whatever that is. And question marks on Steve Jobs, what he died of. But it was cancer, apparently.
Yeah.
I haven't got to that part of the book yet, so I don't know what kind of cancer. But it hits all kinds of people.
Cancer is bad.
No, you don't, Matt. Don't lie to me. It's all right. I'll be okay. I'm used to it. It's because Dale turns up to your classes more. I don't turn up enough, and I know that's understandable. I don't hold any ill will because it's my own fault. Yeah. I would if I could, though, because I'm telling you now, I would much prefer to start the day with jiu-jitsu than start the day with just getting up and going to work. But I don't think I can convince the bosses to let me start later than everyone else. It'd be nice, but not in my industry, unfortunately. Anyway, what else have we got? Anything else?
Not much. I finally finished reading Volume 2 of Saga.
Volume 2, excellent.
Yeah.
So now we're both at the same stage.
Oh, damn. I didn't know you'd read Volume 2 because I bought both of them for you tonight. So.
I've got both of them.
All right.
I'll borrow them, though. See if I can read them during the week. Do you want to borrow Conan? I've got some Conans here.
No Conan.
So, they've gotten on the rocket ship.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, it ends with the robot prince turned up at this house of somebody, and everyone's in the basement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Just spoiled it for everyone who was thinking of reading it. It's still good, isn't it? How good is it?
It's fantastic. Like
Isn't it good?
There was this one panel that like the friend of mine that put me onto it. as soon as I saw this panel, I immediately grabbed the computer and I emailed her a picture of it saying, "This is the greatest panel I've ever seen in my entire life."
Can you describe the panel? Or...
Well, it's...
Oh, no, grab it if you want. We'll show it to people if it's acceptable.
Oh, no, it's completely acceptable. But
are
it's
you
one
folks
of those...
watching this week?
No.
Did they watch last week?
Probably.
What did they think?
Is this volume
That's
one?
one.
That's volume one.
Give us volume one for a second whilst people are... So this is the trade paperback we're talking about. It's called Saga. When I first read it, I had a very similar feeling to what Dale is having. I very much enjoyed it. It's just... I found it via the Comixology app on the iPad, and I saw the graphics, and was just blown away by the graphics. I thought it was fantastic. The fact that the main characters, one's got sheep-like horns, the other one's got little dragon wings, and it's just an epic. I would like to see this as a TV show as well, to be honest. Because if they had the budget, they could do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If they had the budget, this could be an absolute epic. So yeah, you've got the...
It's just a panel of the main character with his shirt off saying, "Please keep reading." And that's, this is the start of chapter 10.
So for those who don't know, comics come out in single issues, and then when they've got roughly about 6 of them, they usually put them together in a trade paperback, which is a big book version. Are you a trade paperback reader by preference?
I prefer trades just because, like, waiting for a few episodes to come out of a TV show, you get them all in one hit.
It's the same kind of attitude that when you've got a TV show and you have a binge of an entire season. I know most people that I know much prefer to read trades because you get to read the entire storyline. You don't read one issue and after 10 minutes it's over and you go, okay, well now what? I genuinely lose interest in runs because of that, unfortunately. Yeah. Which reminds me, I've got to get back onto the new 52. I am so far behind. I think I'm about 15 weeks behind.
Yeah,
I'm screwed.
But yeah, look, this panel.
This is the panel.
I just saw it and I'm like, oh, that is just he's telling me to keep reading. But of course, it's not in context of the story. Like, she's reading to him. So, but still, it looks. You've got a rippling man. Will they get the full brunt of it?
Probably not. But it's a nice little breaking the fourth wall of the comic.
Where am I going? There we go.
You're breaking the fourth wall, but then when you turn the page, you realise, oh no, I'm not breaking the fourth wall at all. Really? Turn it on to silent.
I'll do that right now.
I know Sai's trying to push his way into top spot again.
Well, he's in Healesville apparently.
What, they don't have the internet in Healesville? He can't watch. So yeah. Matt has suggested a topic of, should the voice kids even exist? I have no idea what he's talking about.
Well, I will agree. I will agree that it probably shouldn't exist. The voice... I find all of those reality shows, like The Biggest Loser, The Voice, X Factor, all of those ones, they're really good for the first week. American Idol, Australian Idol, really good for the first few weeks, especially Australian Idol. Not so much The Voice, because you find a lot of the people on The Voice can actually sing.
Yep.
Whereas with American Idol and all that sort of stuff, you get the people that can sing, you get the people that are, all right, and they could probably do with a bit of talenting, and then you get fucking wingnuts that have no idea how shit they are, and they get on there.
Okay, so what are I know what the voice is the one where they're in the chairs and they hit the thing and they rotate.
So the voice kids is exactly the same, except it's kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So exploitation, exist.
Yeah. It shouldn't exist at all. Kids are way too fragile to be exposed to the reality of criticism that comes from, those kind of competitions.
Yep. But the ad for the Voice Kids look friggin' awesome.
You just want to laugh at
no
kids getting crying and stuff.
I have
You suck, love.
no. If you see the ad, you'd understand. But I have a guilty pleasure. There's a movie that came out a couple of years ago in the complete height of Glee and all that sort of stuff. It's a movie called Pitch Perfect. I don't know if you've seen it or our one viewer out there has seen it. But
that's the one with Rebel Wilson.
Yes, and Anna Kendricks.
And there's a guy in it who...
He's off the Workaholics?
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to the Kevin Pollak chat show the other day and he was on it talking about it. He turned up at the audition. He got told by his managers to turn up to the audition. Didn't have anything song-wise ready. And they said, what do you want? What have you got to sing for us? And he said, I don't really sing. And they're like, we'll just sing something. And he sang the theme from Full House as a New Orleans blues singer.
Yeah. He can
apparently that went down really well and they went with it.
For those who haven't seen it, it's basically a movie about a group who get together and sing, but it's all a cappella. So they do like the boom, all the noises and stuff, and then they sing on top of it. But they do like all the pop songs of the day.
Yep.
It's really good.
So you like Pitch Perfect?
I loved Pitch Perfect. I can't wait for the sequel.
I heard the Pitch Perfect 2, The Pitch is Back. Is that that a title?
Probably. But anyway,
I believe you like Pitch Perfect.
I love it. I love it. The voice kids, the ad is very much a cappella. Or, they're doing they're singing some song and they're doing it, a couple of the kids are going boom, 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 boom. And, all that sort of stuff. It looked awesome. And then I found out it was the voice kids. I'm like, oh.
Damn it.
Yeah.
So we don't say that name anymore, Matt. We don't talk about that person anymore. I'll show that to you so you know that I'm not. It's not anything to worry about. We were at the Queen Vic Market yesterday, and there's a big mural of all these entertainers and stuff, and there's actually a note on it saying we are going to get rid of his portrait in it. Don't worry, we're onto it. We're going to get rid of it. You don't need to come and tell us that it's inappropriate anymore.
Yep. I did get sent a wonderful meme the other day of this entertainer that we are not talking about saying, see you later, alligator. And then the bottom half is an alligator jumping up saying, in a while, pedophile.
Esther would like to know, if you could be on a reality show, which one would you choose apart from the one you're on at this moment? How is this a reality show?
Hands down, it's got to be the next installment of There's Something About Miriam.
Are you going to be the Miriam, or are you going to be one of the competitors?
I'll be the Miriam. They will never know that I'm actually a woman.
Oh, God. I was actually going to answer that seriously.
Okay, you can answer that seriously. I was
going to answer that seriously by saying that I would genuinely like to be on either The Amazing Race or Survivor. Because I've been watching those shows as a bonding thing with my little sister for a long time, and I actually really enjoy them as competitions. I don't think of them as reality shows. I think of them as game shows.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's what they are. It just happens that you're watching. It is filmed in that reality way of something happening. We're just going to watch. But of course, they re-edit things to make it more dramatic and that kind of stuff. But I would genuinely like to do either of those. We should keep an eye out for the next Australian Amazing Race.
We will. We can... You're the last team to finish.
What? Yeah, so what? Oh, you reckon we get kicked out?
No. What would be our shtick? You've got married couple.
We could be the funny...
Podcast.
The fun... Oh, yeah, well, podcasters.
Yeah.
But we could be the... We could play up the martial arts side of it.
There you go.
Because on the recent season of Survivor, there was a martial artist from, Malibu. And he's always like, when I'm in my dojo doing taekwondo, there are 5 steps that we always focus on. It was literally like Bill and Ted meets Spicone from Fast Times, who was a martial artist. He was he was a bit of a dropkick, and the best thing was he made it through to the final 3, and then he had the vote and got rid of the chick that he could have beaten to take to the final 2.
Yep.
The guy that beat him.
Okay.
He chose the guy that would then beat him. So he was an absolute dropkick. But yeah, typical surfer. I go by the 5 rules of Taekwondo, and it was pretty funny. Should we tell? No, we'll let people look up. There's something about Miriam. They can work that out.
If they haven't
themselves.
seen it, I know it's Matt's favorite TV show. He tells me about it all the time.
I also would like to be on the Joe Schmo show.
One of my favorite reality shows. I was going to ask you all about if you've seen that show. How good was that?
I haven't seen a lot of it, but because I listened to Hollywood Babylon with Ralph Garman, I've heard about it, and I have watched some of it, and it is pretty good. Because that becomes... Because it's like double layer reality.
I'm watching the playback so that we can see the
high five. I saw the playback in the other one for the high five. But yeah, what we need to improve there is the lighting. How terrible does that look? But I want to focus on the audio as we're now on the verge of iTunes greatness.
Joe Schmo Show.
Joe Schmo Show. I love the fact that it's the 2 layers of reality.
Yep.
In that there's the reality that they're creating, and then there's the reality of what's actually happening that we get to watch.
Yep.
And of course, when they over dramatize aspects where the guy almost found out.
Yeah.
Like there was one that I was watching where this.
We should probably, for those who haven't seen it, it's a reality show like every other reality show that's ever been done, like Big Brother and that sort of stuff. However, the catch is that everyone except for one person is an actor, and the guy who's gonna win it from the start, like no matter what contest they play and all that sort of stuff, it's guaranteed this guy is gonna win the show. Everyone else is in on it, and they play their parts. Like you've got the gay guy, you've got the best friend in the house, you've got the jock, you've got the slutty woman, that sort of stuff.
They had in the one of the seasons that I watched, they had a deaf girl.
Yeah.
And at one point, somebody said something, and she said, "What?"
No.
And of course, they've re-edited it to make it focus on certain things, but they zoomed in on the guy who didn't know what was going on, and he's gone, and he looked all confused, and then like they quickly jumped in and stuff, and they cut to the control room, and the control room's like. Like, it's just going, oh my god, it's the second day is the whole thing just been ruined and stuff? Yeah.
There it is. High five!
High five. That is so sad. But anyway, the fact that they have that second layer I find really interesting. And also because I do love Ralph Garman, when the second season was, he was being a bounty hunter, wasn't he?
Who's Ralph Garman?
He's the host.
Okay.
The host of the Joe Schmo Show.
There you go.
You need to listen to Hollywood Babylon. I reckon you might like it. He's the host, and he's being a bounty hunter.
Okay.
And his wife says something stupid, and he sort of just turns and goes, "Will you shut up?" Like he starts because she's so dumb, and he's like being embarrassed by her. It's this added layer, as I was saying before, which I find quite amusing. Joe Schmo.
Joe Schmo Show.
That's a recommendation for us, I reckon. Given that we both like the Joe Schmo Show.
That's a buy. Yeah. I also really like. It's not a reality show in the sense of games competing and that sort of stuff, but it's one of those reality shows where they follow someone. They only ever did. I think they might have done 2 seasons, but it's called Breaking Bonaducci, like Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family.
I've heard of the show. I've never actually watched it though.
The tagline for the show is, "My life is a train wreck, and you have every right to stop and watch the disaster," kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And he's literally, like, you start the show, you don't know how to feel about him, because it's him going through therapy, and, he's having trouble with his family and his wife and that sort of stuff. So you start the show hating him, and then by the end of the show, you realise that, yes, he's got problems, but maybe she's a bit of the problem as well, and he starts taking steroids halfway through the show. There's this one scene where he's talking about his addiction to crack. There's another scene where he hasn't drank for like years and years, and then all of a sudden he gets like an entire bottle of vodka, buys a bottle of one of those big bottles of Gatorade,
Yep.
pours half of it out, fills the rest with vodka, sculls the entire thing, and then skateboards into traffic. Oh, riveting.
That does seem like thrilling TV, but it makes I don't understand that kind of encouraging people to watch a train wreck of your life. I don't know.
No. But then again, people love the Kardashians.
But see, I wouldn't.
They've got to keep up with them.
Oh, good one. I wouldn't call that a train wreck as such. I'd call that just a money making venture. Because I'm one of those people that doesn't like them and doesn't like everything that they've done, but gives them credit for making money off nothing.
What do you think we're trying to do?
Exactly. Yeah. We don't have the fame though of our father getting OJ off, but if you're willing to get a black man off, then
who? Kim Kardashian. She's
that's what she does. Hey. That's all she ever seems to do. She's taken after. She's taken after her father and just likes to get black men off. It's that simple.
Can we please make a T-shirt that says that?
Kim's taken after her father
and got black men off.
Yeah, Matt reckons he's watching a train wreck now. You ain't seen nothing. Wait until the episode when we actually drink during it. That's going to be the one that'll get crazy. I was a bit disappointed this week when on the D&G Facebook page for Canada Day, I changed the profile picture and the background to Canada references.
Yep.
Nobody commented.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I didn't see one comment.
I did. I commented about the Strange Brew.
I didn't see that. I don't know where you commented that because I didn't see it. I was a bit disappointed because nobody got it. I was thinking I've just made because we've got at least one mutual Canadian friend. I don't know if I've got any others or if you've got any others. I was very much hoping that I would get a little bit of a pat on the back for making a Canada reference.
So put something on there.
And now we wait for Dale to find a Canada, whether he's coming.
I so did. Bob and Doug McKenzie, eh? Come on.
I didn't see it.
Well, technically, one of us,
yeah. Matt just suggested that we. He suggested that we do a live from Spa Guy episode. Spa Guy?
Spa Guy.
Who's Spa Guy?
Spa Guy is the male brothel that's next door to Dominance.
Is that what it's called?
Well, apparently. Like, I was having this conversation with a couple of friends today.
How does Matt know the name of the place?
This was the question I had. How do you guys know the name of the place? All we said was you know, there's a character at Dominance. There's a prominent talker of Spa Guy, and he told us the name.
I had heard that that's what it was next door, and I thought, good for them. I think it would be quite funny to do an episode, not necessarily from Spa Guy, even though that sounds like a stupid name, but from an actual spa. That would work.
Yeah,
it's possible. It is entirely possible.
I want confirmation that he's actually called Spa Guy. So
Matt's apparently the cleaner. Apparently doing
jizz
mopping and teaching jiu-jitsu. That's how his income is made. I can foresee with the right kind of technology that a spa episode would be possible. Maybe for our 10th episode.
Maybe.
We've still got to work out a guest for our 10th episode.
I know. Because
I made that suggestion of getting a guest for that one, and I like that suggestion. I'm still pleased that we've made it to 5, and regularly too. We haven't. We didn't even confirm that you were coming tonight. It just magically happened. I was getting a little bit worried because I was like, we haven't confirmed, but
I know.
We don't need to now. We don't need to. Yeah. So yeah, if you've got suggestions of who you reckon a good guest would be, send them over to the page, and then they will tell you to get stuffed.
Yeah. What's our suggestion?
Apparently, there's proof.
There is proof.
We don't need to talk too much detail about it. Not that I've got anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Pretty cool. I just wanted to make sure that was what it was called.
But it kind of annoyed I get annoyed by being straight. I'll let that hang in the air. I couldn't think of another way to say that, because imagine how awesome it would be to be a gay guy and go in there and it's just all these other gay guys that have got the same kind of thoughts and everything as you. You go to a pub and you want to pick up, you're still walking in going, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. Like you might go over to a girl and go, hi, how you doing and stuff.
Yep.
And then it might not work and stuff. Whereas you go into a gay spa that is I assume all gay spas are just sex places, aren't they?
Well, we might have to do an expose.
Or is it just that you go in there and have a spa, but you've got another bunch of gay guys, and then you're not going to get harassed or anything? Whatever. Let's assume it is just a place where it just goes that you have sex. It would be quite enjoyable and awesome. You feel like a bit of rumpy pumpy, and you just head in there. You know you're going to get what you're after, and you're all good. I think that would be good. Anyway,
I'm just reading a bit of a review.
Okay, you read the review, or if you want to.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. It's a good. Why is my phone not turning? Free lube in most rooms.
Oh God, that's enough. That is enough.
One useless. It literally says one useless. One large room with a bed in the center. The owner has adorned the walls with all kinds of interesting picture and ornaments, very tasteful paintings, and a photo of Kenny Rogers. Entry is $15.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't. What annoys me about it is that it doesn't look inviting.
Well, it's got a small outdoor area, steam room, dry sauna, indoor spa, jacuzzi, private rooms, 3 TV lounges with movies, and 2 with TV showing.
It sounds like a great place to hang out.
It does sound like a great place to hang out.
You've just got to like dick. Have a dick and like dick. That's the only prerequisite. Yeah, as I said, it doesn't look inviting. I don't understand.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I thought it was always just boarded up.
Yeah.
For a number of years until I found out. I don't understand why that's the. Because I don't want to sound too much like I'm patting myself on the back, but because I don't give a shit if someone's gay or not, I don't understand why or whether they would be exposed to issues and problems by being a little bit nicer on the front, rather than bars on the windows and stuff.
Well, I guess it's the location it's in, Abbotsford, like.
Yeah,
and
I mean they don't have to. I mean they'd probably want to change the name if they were putting a name on the front, but
they don't have a name, do they?
There's no name on the front. It doesn't look like anything is there. It looks like it's just boarded up. So unless you're in the know, hey, that might be how they like it.
That might be how they like it.
That might be the appeal, is that it's a private.
Well, think about it. Like, if you advertise that you have a gay sauna, 90% of the world's population is, or let's not say 90 because it's a new world, but a large proportion of the world's population probably still live in the Stone Age, and they're, let's go beat up them queers.
It's a shame that would be the way it is. I would love it if that character that you just did got there, kicked the door down, walked in and went, this is pretty nice. Just sat down watching the TV with a picture of Kenny Rogers. Sitting on the side. I didn't hear anything in those reviews suggesting that there was actually a spa in there, though.
Oh, no, there's a spa.
Is there?
Yeah, it did say spa, I believe.
I'm wondering if we could do an episode from there now.
Well, could be painful. It's dry sauna, indoor spa, jacuzzi.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Matt is desperate to find out what's the gayest thing we've ever done. I think Matt's a little bit obsessed, but anyway.
Gone full Bronto.
Full Bronto.
Yeah.
What the hell
no.
Do you
I've
mean
wrestled with a
Bronco?
warthog.
Do you reckon Bronco?
Bronto.
Bronto.
And I've wrestled with a warthog before.
Are you revealing something that is common knowledge or not? No one knows.
No one knows.
You know that this is going out for anyone to listen to. We don't have much of a listenership, but people will be able to listen to it if they
can
want.
listen to it.
Okay. Are we going to describe that, or do people have to look that up for themselves?
Warthog is a Sunny reference.
Ah, okay. I find the gayest thing I probably have done is find Hugh Jackman to be quite the man. That's about it. It's not really that much of a sexual attraction. I just think he's a pretty impressive guy.
It's pretty impressive.
Just because the way he, and I won't go on about it too much.
Well, you are going.
The way he is able to transform from his different roles, playing Peter Allen to singing on Broadway to Wolverine. If you can play Wolverine and Peter Allen, I reckon that's pretty impressive. If you can win a Tony Award and... Has he won an Oscar?
No. He should have, though.
He should have. For Wolverine, if anything.
Have you seen The Fountain?
No, I don't think so.
You should watch The Fountain.
Okay. There we go.
He plays 3 different characters. One of them's a conquistador, the other is a scientist, and the other is an astronaut.
Yeah.
But it's all the 3 stories are about the exact same thing. It's a man trying to find the fountain of youth to bring his wife back.
Yeah. Watch that this week, kids, and we can talk about it next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a Darren Aronofsky movie.
Oh, Darren.
Who
was he married to?
Rachel Weisz, who stars in The Fountain.
Of course she does.
Yes. Hugh Jackman. And,
what other stuff has he done? Because that
Requiem for a Dream.
There you go.
The
That's enough.
Yep.
Requiem. I got
Black
told.
Swan.
Where was I the other week? Oh, I was upstairs in the weights room, and Jace has said something about Requiem, and then he's turned to me and gone, "Gab, you would have seen that.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Seen it, loved it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that I gave off the image of seeing art of being an art film fan. Is it the glasses? Is it just the glasses?
Yeah.
I know I'm an unintentional hipster, so I can't avoid. No, but I've got apparently because when I was working in a cafe the other last year or so, somebody came in one day and said, "Oh, did you see the paper on the weekend? There was a thing about how to know if your barista's a hipster." And I've gone, "Oh no, I didn't see that. That'd be interesting." Later that day, someone's come in and gone, "Oh my god, there was this thing in the paper. It summed you up perfectly." And I'm just like, "What?" Got a copy of it. Out of the 10 things, I had like 9 of them. It annoyed me. Like, thick rim glasses, telling you that why your coffee's wrong.
Well, you're a barista, so it's kind of your job. Exactly.
Telling you about music that you've never heard before. And I would constantly at the place be playing music and going, no, this is a great band. Yeah. Parliament Funkadelic, a great act. And that was a very impressive slap bass.
Slap in the BS.
I made a recommendation the other week to Chris that she should listen to a Funkadelic video, and she didn't like it. I was disappointed. Yeah. I don't know why Matt can't eat and watch. Apparently he's got to go eat. I guess he does live the high life going out all the time. Probably. I don't know. I'm making shit up. Yeah.
Any recommendations for the week besides watching The Fountain?
Well, The Office, of course, I think is a very fun, light show. You can almost jump in and grab any episode from its 9 seasons. You don't necessarily have to know everything that's going on. The Steve Jobs biography, very much enjoying that so far. I'm only a bit past a third of the way. Audiobooks in general is my recommendation at the moment. I'm absolutely loving them. Apart from that, that's about it I've got.
Yeah.
Looking at the time there, I'm amazed at how quickly that's gone.
It's gone pretty quick today.
That has gone really quick because I'm feeling like it's perfectly acceptable to wrap it up right now.
Yeah, look,
are you feeling that as well?
I think we're at a good spot. We can wrap it up. But look, I was going to say, highly recommend people to check out The Leftovers.
Yes.
Check out the pilot, preferably right now because the new one will come out by 2:00 tomorrow. Or you can just download the both of them and watch them together.
Yep.
But the other really big thing I'll say about the pilot for this show is it has fantastic music.
Oh, okay.
There's been... I knew one of the songs that they play, and they edited it so perfectly in with the action of the TV show. But there's been two new songs that I've heard in the pilot that I've actively gone out and looked up the artist.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, that is a pretty good recommendation.
I did that with, it was an episode of Nip Tuck where they played two fantastic songs that this was back in the day when you didn't have those crazy apps where you could play like 30 seconds of a song and it would tell you the name of the song. I had to go out and find out what was the song that was played in episode 5, section D sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
And coincidentally, the song that was that I heard was actually written about the actress who plays Nichols in Orange Is the New Black.
Okay.
Rufus Wainwright, Natasha.
There you go.
Yep.
Which one's Nichols again?
The one that starts the contest with.
Oh yeah, the big hair.
Big hair.
She's an interesting story because she's obviously, if anyone recognises her, she's from. She was in American Pie.
Yep.
But then she had I think we've mentioned it before. Had a bunch of different drug problems and stuff. So she's quite the interesting character.
She is also the star of my favourite lesbian movie ever made.
Yes.
And
you've mentioned that as well.
And would be the reason that I would want to be a lesbian if I was a woman.
Can't you just be a straight man?
I think I am a straight lesbian.
A straight
man
lesbian
who's a lesbian.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is she a lesbian?
I don't know.
In real life?
Well, she's played a lesbian in two films, but that doesn't mean she's a lesbian.
But then Rufus, she's a muse for Rufus, so who knows?
Who knows?
You know what? To be honest, I'm not sure you've got a chance.
Well, she's had some major heart surgery. That's kind of not one of my turn-ons. So
you're rejecting her?
Rejecting her because she's
even if she wants something.
I'll tell you what. I would try and meet with her just so I could get Claire Duval's phone number, who is the actress that plays her love interest in But I'm a Cheerleader. Which leads on to another quick recommendation: Carnivale. Have you watched that?
No, but I've seen it.
Watch it.
I've seen the.
Watch it.
I know of it.
Claire Duval's in that as well. She's just spectacular. Anyway, so Carnival.
No.
Leftovers.
Go to the Facebook group. Dale will post a bunch of his recommendations just before, or just after we finish up the episode. Look for it during the week on iTunes, and of course the best thing. Every podcast says this, but the best thing you can do for us is to like and review on iTunes.
Tell your friends.
Because that helps with the positioning. iTunes does pay attention to that kind of stuff, and they acknowledge it. And tell your friends. Send us love, hate, and recommendations.
Till next time.
That's goodbye from me and goodbye from him.